But I know you feel strongly that that's not a fair answer.
Yeah, I don't believe in that at all. I think in camps we have the opportunity to teach values. And I've always believed if we can replicate what we do in camp outside in the rest of the world, we'd be better off. And I think when we teach values and we teach kids to look out for each other and the values of honesty, caring, respect, responsibility, and we live those, we're creating a culture within our camps that is making it safe for kids. And they're safe to share what's going on.
So now when we get to a culture of respect, that's why we don't bully one another, because we respect one another. So in stopping it from happening, we're bringing kids back to our values.
Absolutely.
So what you're suggesting is a safety approach is living our values.
I agree.
Gareth, so that's interesting because we do have some rules that I think spring from this culture of respect. What are the rules?
It all comes down to supervision. What Josh mentioned in making sure we're teaching values takes engaged supervision when you're working with the campers. But we also know that there are high-risk areas where peer-to-peer abuse eventually does play out in those opportunistic locations. And those are the locations that are the hardest for us to supervise. Bathrooms, locker rooms, anywhere where children may be in less clothes or be wet, those are the areas that take additional supervision. So when we talk about children being supervised 100% of the time, that means when we're bringing kids to a bathroom, we need to be standing in the doorway. We need to be sending only one child into the stall at a time. We need to be constantly communicating with those children. If we can't have perfect line of sight because genders are different or whatever it might be, they still know we're engaged with them and they are not on their own.
Help me with this one, because from time to time we'll hear people say, this particularly happens in day camp, we have a buddy system. So Josh and Gareth are going to go off to the bathroom together. Or maybe I have a rule of 3, which is interpreted as Josh and Gareth and Kevin can go to the bathroom together. That sounds like that's not consistent with what you're suggesting.
No, that doesn't work. With a buddy system, you have a setup for one child to bully or abuse the other child when they're not supervised. In a rule of 3, where one of the 3 is not a counselor, you have a setup for 2 children to bully one child or to sexually abuse that child. So even in those areas that are difficult to supervise, we can't let down that supervision rule. In a rule of 3, 1 or 2 need to be counselors.
So it's real that there's a logistical problem, particularly in day camp, of when my kids need to go to the bathroom. So this gets back to the issue of planning. If you've got a bunch of kids, it's important to take them all to the bathroom at the beginning of the session. Or if one of them needs to go to the bathroom, we're going to take a whole bunch of them to the bathroom so that we keep our ratios appropriate. This is back to planning ahead, being the supervisor of the environment, and making sure that, as Josh and Gareth said, we don't present the opportunity to these kids. Because if we have allowed the bullying to go on and we then present them with an opportunity where the kids are partially clothed or wet, we're going to have a bad situation. So staying ahead of those things is hugely important. And the most important way to stay ahead of those things is to make sure that we live our values every moment of every day. So we've been through quite an experience over the last hour and a half. I hope it has been enlightening and empowering for each of you. I want to take just a couple of moments here and allow our panelists to share their closing thoughts with you. Gareth, why don't you take us out?
I love working with camps and love working with camp counselors, and I'm always inspired by how creative and how caring you are, but also by the incredible responsibility that you take on every summer to be responsible for the lives of other people's children. In a few years, I'll be sending my own daughter to camp, and hope that we've given you some tools that you'll be able to use to make sure you keep her and keep all of the kids in your care safe.
Thanks, Gareth. Josh, how about your thoughts?
I just want to say thank you for choosing to work at camp this summer. You have the opportunity to make huge impacts in children's lives, my kids and millions of others. I just ask that you make good decisions, have fun, and be safe. Thank you.
You know, both Gareth and Josh have shared an interesting point. We've each spoken to you today as insurance professionals, as camp guys. but we are all three dads. I have mentioned to you before that my kids have grown up at camp and have been significantly enriched by their experiences there, and thank the good Lord and thank the effort of their counselors and other camp staff members. They've come home each year safe. My kids are my most precious possession, and I promise you, every parent who will send their kids to camp this year feels exactly the same way. We are entrusting you with the most important element of our lives, and that's the responsibility that you have this summer. The table stakes are just to get them home to us the way you got them. But that's not all we expect. We expect our kids to come home more responsible, more whole, more moral, and understanding better their role in a civilized society. It's a pretty tall order, isn't it? That's what you took on this summer. I believe in you. I believe you're ready to have a great summer yourself and to have your kids have a transformational experience. Thanks for all you will do for kids this summer.